Hi, everybody. Welcome to a new Prog Report interview. This is Roy. My guest today is an amazing singer, songwriter, musician, and producer, known for his band Mutemath and also for his work with bands like 21 Pilots and others. Really pleased to welcome Paul Meany. Good to have you
Pleasure.
on, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
So this is really cool. As I was telling you a little bit before, my whole family's been big Mutemath fans, and now we got the kids. They love 21 Pilots, and I love 21 Pilots as well. I think they're just awesome. Just a great band, great live band. Um, but I what and congrats because you worked with the guys on the last few records, including their latest one, Breach, #1 album in America, which is insane.
Thank
Sold a
you.
crap ton of records. That's phenomenal in
It's a good thing we
2025.
got in there before Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's
Yeah.
she just came and just trounced the whole table.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
that's
we
it.
got
It's
our
it's
exciting
it's
little
all
number
over. But
one.
I mean, just a quick stat that I found because it was all like first rock record to set to be #1 and sell that much since like Tool like 6 years ago. I
Yeah, it's
mean,
pretty exciting.
it's pretty exciting. So you must have been stoked, and the guys, Tyler and Josh must have been just been excited.
Totally. Especially for what this album means to the whole arc of the Blurryface story, their career. So this is an
Yeah.
important moment for them creatively and just what they've been communicating and building for so long. So for it to be received like this, it's pretty huge.
Yeah, I mean, I know my our general prog audience, which is usually, Genesis, yes, Dream Theater, Opeth, Tool, those kind of things. They
Yeah.
may not have even heard of 21 Pilots, possibly, or even wonder how I like them. But listen, it's great
Now's a
stuff,
good
and
time.
it's and I'll tell
Go
you
listen
what,
to it.
I look. I've argued for a while that prog is what I said. Those bands, the classic bands, and then it got a bit more metal. In the last couple of 20 years or so, something like that. But there was always kind of these, especially nowadays. There's more bands now that fall under that thing simply because they're adventurous, they're
Right.
creative, they don't have a specific place where you could put them. And for me, Mute Math was always right in that vein. Your
Sure.
previous band that people may have heard. I've talked about you guys on the channel before, where you guys didn't do the normal thing all the time and took chances and stuff was creative and there was extra parts and the musicianship is excellent and all those things. And it's like you can like that too because it sort of fills that gap. Did you ever see you guys feeling that kind of thing?
Uh, for sure. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of those classic bands that were influences for us, namely Yes. But, I was also just a huge fan of the Police, which doesn't fall in that. But the Police were a band to me that were very adventurous within the parameters that they set for themselves.
Yeah,
And I was
totally.
super inspired by what they accomplished in their short 5 years. It's hard to think that the Police only existed for a short period of time and the
Yeah.
impact that they had. But between how they would make records and then interpret them at their show. And it's very adventurous. They would extend things, and it was always you wanted to not blink or you'd miss something. And we enjoyed those type of artists. I think most recently, huge inspirations from Mute Math, especially, was like the Flaming Lips, which is not too
Right.
far removed from a prog sort of approach.
Oh no, they a lot
And
of people that like them too. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I mean that was our world. We probably zigged and zagged a little too much in hindsight. When I
Right.
look back at some of the stuff we did, it's like, man, it would have been nice to just kind of deliver
Yeah.
something consistent for a little while. But we just, yeah, we were an ADD type, ADHD type of artist. Just where's the
Wait,
shiny new object creatively, and we were chasing it.
was that always a thing with the record label where they're like, "Can't you just write another typical? Can't you just give
Oh,
us that
totally.
again?"
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a time where we turned in our new record and the label just went,
Right.
guys, just we can do this three more records. We just need one more record like the last. We were having such a good thing
Yeah.
happening. What are you doing? Um, but yeah, we were just that type of artists, for better or for worse. But so we're very grateful in hindsight for the fans that we accumulated along the way that were gracious enough to rabbit trail with us.
Yeah. And well, to kind of bridge that with 21 Pilots, they're music wise, they're not like Yes and Genesis and those things in any way. I wouldn't claim that. but conceptually, the 5 album arc and the story and the fact that they do all sorts of different songs and styles, it sort of just it scratches that itch in the same way for me. I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, when you talk about just world building and and some of the great albums throughout history have been concept based. There was sort of this deeper. If you go beyond the surface, there's something more. Um, and when artists take the the initiative to just go a little deeper than just surface level, that becomes really exciting. And a lot of great albums over the years have been built on that. Um, and certainly 21 Pilots found their unique angle at taking that approach. And so it's has obviously been an honor to be a part of that and make those type of records. Remember when Tyler first sat down with us coming out of Blurry Face, we were getting ready to go into the follow-up for that in the trench. And he began to articulate this world for the first time and just these fictitious characters. And there's this place called Dima and Trench and all the bishops, and it was going to give Blurryface a name and Nico, and then he played us Nico and the Niners, and yeah, it was for a minute. It was like, oh boy, okay, you sure you just don't want to write another Heathens?
Right.
But no, this
Which
is
again,
exciting.
I bet
All
the
right,
record
let's
label,
go.
the record
Let's
label
go.
probably wanted another Stressed Out or
Yeah,
he like
exactly.
Heathens. Like, yeah, that you know what? That was their Fleetwood Mac Tusk record, if you will.
Right. Sure.
But Trench is awesome, and actually bringing that album up, I had liked the band before, obviously with Blurryface, a huge record. And if people know that Stressed Out is a mega hit, but when I was listening to Trench, that was the first time where I listened to their music and I went, this sounds like Mutemath. That like he's got to be involved in this, and I was so happy when I was right. It was
Oh,
like
cheers to
the
that. Well,
DNA was just right in there, man.
Tyler, artistically, he's influenced and sort of has the same sort of creative DNA as I did, and that's kind of what we connected when we toured together, and we enjoyed a lot of the same things, and of course, Tyler to me is just a fantastic artist. I love where he goes naturally. So it was just, man, one of those. The universe just. I'm so thankful that those paths coincided and we got to really make some great music together.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to forget to mention your solo record, which is out now called Forever Phase, and
Yeah,
that's actually why I reached out to you because I was so excited to hear you making music again. You had Mute Math hasn't been a thing for a while,
yeah.
and you've been doing producing, super successful in that. But I love the way you write. I love the way you sing. It's really
Thank
nice
you.
to have that back, and the new record is great. Out now and streaming, and I guess you're taking pre-orders for vinyl and CDs and stuff.
Thank
Um, what prompted you to do a record now?
Well, I was getting the itch, and I've enjoyed this last chapter of my life. Once we stopped Mute Math and I just went into just being a producer full time, and I loved it, enjoyed it. And along the way, I was just accumulating little ideas here and there that I just decided to write some songs. And I was coming into this place in my life as into my late 40s, and I hadn't made a record in a while, and I'm gone through this dad phase, and there was these things artistically I felt like I had to say. I'm not a young spring chicken anymore, but even as just an old timer, I'm like, I kind of crave, let me throw some of this into a microphone. And so Forever Phase became that catch-all for me with these ideas. And then finally this year, I just decided just put it all together, find the through line, touch up all the ideas. And I wanted to get this album out. Now was a good time for me to do it. In between records. And, the 21 Pilots story arc is beginning to end. And I just kind of wanted to get this album out, which was sort of a look at my whole musical journey since I started it just chasing a dream in the 90s, and looking at my life now that I feel so lucky to still be able to keep making music, whether it's producing or writing songs or whatever. I'm still the 16-year-old kid in my mom's garage just like chasing shit in headphones, and I still get to do it as an old
Amazing, yeah.
outdated adult. And so Making a record that kind of just was a commemoration of that was important to me, and that's what Forever Phase was all about.
Where does the decision to say, okay, I finally got X amount of songs, I'm going to start recording, or were you just recording bits along the way?
It was bits along the way, like the first opening track on the album is called "Hold the Record." That was a musical idea, actually, that I started for 21 Pilots coming out of Trench. We were getting ready to start recording what was going to be the follow up for Trench, and I was just building a bunch of musical ideas. I was taken to Tyler, and it just got shelved. We wound up the pandemic wound up happening, and everything kind of pivoted. And that was just
Yeah.
a musical idea that I just had sitting on a hard drive for a while. But it started in the rush of trying to make music for post Trench. And so I had that sitting for a while. And then, like 3 years later, I remember mowing the lawn, thinking about that track. And all of a sudden, I had a vocal idea for it. I'm like, oh, let me run up to the studio real quick and jot it down. And then 2 years after that, I decided to finish out the verses, whatever it was. So it's that kind of thing for like each of the songs, where they kind of started at, probably I was making a track for another artist and it just didn't make it to them, or just got passed over or something. And then as I had these fragmented ideas, I was getting vocal ideas as well. And then I decided to just make it my point of view.
Yeah. I mean, there's especially the first kind of few songs on the album just really sound like a new Mutemath album, which is great for anybody that was a fan and wanted some more music. I mean, Ambulance, Scenic Route,
Thank
those
you.
songs, just I love that stuff. It's
Well,
just been really
admittedly, I
great.
started writing Ambulance in Mutemath.
Yeah,
And as a matter of fact, if you look at the credits, I have Darren credited as one of the writers on that song, and it was one of the few from that era that I felt like I wanted to be my solo record. And probably the reason why Ambulance never made it on a Mutemath record is because it was very personal. It was a very personal story of mine. I just gone through a traumatic situation where I thought I lost my daughter. She was 18 months old, and we woke up to her one morning having a seizure. Um, and we thought we were watching our 18-month-old daughter die in our arms. We didn't realize at the time, we learned later, that when an infant spikes a fever overnight, sometimes they can have what's called, I might get this wrong, but it's like a febrile seizure, it's called. And we didn't know that. We just thought she was dying. So it's just the race of me trying to get to the emergency room, which was probably one of the worst, most fire drill mornings of my life, left a mark. And I remember we were recording at the time, it was post Odd Soul. So we were recording for what would become Vitals. And the guys were in town and they were waiting at the studio for me. And I just gone through this traumatic thing with rushing my daughter to the emergency room, and like, but she was okay. And so I'm coming off the
thank
panic
God.
high and just trying to collect myself. And we were in the studio. The guys gave me the day off. They're like, dude, we don't need to work today. But when I came back the next day, and I remember there was this Darren King instrumental. He had made a track, and this song just started pouring out of me, of kind of just what I'd gone through with that experience. And then it just sat on a hard drive. It was just, that was it. We never released it. But it was always a special song for me because it was a defining, crazy moment in my life. And I learned a lot about myself as a dad, like what I'm not. Like I got to learn to take a deep breath when shit hits the fan. Like I'm not the hero guy. I'm not the guy who has it together. I start panicking. I mean, there was a moment. And by the way, my wife passed out. I don't think she would mind me telling the story, but like, it was like the family was falling apart. Like my wife had passed out. I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't wake her up. I had a baby that had just finished seizure. And now she's screaming in my arms. I just run to my van. I just got in the band van I had at the time, just the hospital with her in my arms, with the window rolled down, yelling at people to get out of the way. And I think back to that moment and I get these idiot shivers, because what a dumb thing to do. If I got in a wreck,
No, but I
or hit
mean,
a
of
bad,
course,
my
you don't know what
baby
you're
could have went
doing
flying out
then.
the window. It's
Oh my God.
like just take a. So what me and my wife both learned is when things like that happen, we got to take a deep breath,
Yeah.
call 911, dude. You don't have to be the hero. So that was a disappointing things I've learned about myself in that type of moment in the fire. Um, but it was a teaching moment. I'm just glad that we all are fine. No one,
Yeah,
it was fine,
that's
but
great.
so anyway, nothing else. A song called Ambulance came out of it. And so I redid it not too long ago, and just kind of reproduced it. And it definitely belonged on this album.
Wow. Well, that's a whole nother angle to listen to the song now from.
I haven't
That's
told
a
the story yet. I was going to tell the story this week later in a post, but you get it for
wow.
the first time right here.
That's a well. I'm really glad everybody's okay, but that's just a wild story. But I mean, if being a dad, I can relate. I mean, there's panic moments. You don't know what you're doing ever.
Oh
You
my
know what I mean?
God. Yeah. And
So,
you read the books, and we had read everything. And I thought I knew it. She was our only daughter. And I thought we knew everything. We were prepared for everything. I remember, researching how to administer the Heimlich maneuver. That was one of my fears, that she'd be choking. And I knew how to do that on an infant. But the one thing we missed was, oh, a baby can get a seizure and it's okay. They're not dying. You just put them on their side. You let it pass. It's probably from a fever spiking, and we'll give them some Motrin after. It'll be fine. I didn't know that. Almost killed the whole goddamn family,
whew,
freaking out over it. But we learn the hard way as parents a lot of times, and man, we're thankful when we don't do any eternal damage.
yeah, wow. That's well. Thanks for sharing that, man. That's incredible. Let's take a breath of that story
We
for a
need a
second.
need a
Uh,
need a Xanax after that story. Jesus.
um, yeah, yeah. Well, so with the new record, where can people support it, buy it, get it? What's the best place to do that?
Yeah, no, I mean it's everywhere where you would normally listen to music. I have it to where you can download it from my site. Obviously, we're selling CDs and vinyl. I'm pre-ordering all that right now, and so yeah, and stream it. You can buy the hard copies if you want, and it's just a forever phase party right now. Having a good
Yeah.
time with it.
That's awesome. I want to circle back a little bit to Mute Math and talk to you about it because
Yeah,
tell me if I'm right, but I looked and it looks like the debut album is going to be 20 years old next
can
year.
you
Is that
believe
is that
that?
right?
Man, no, you're right.
That's pretty insane. That is I remember hearing that. I got to give a shout out to my sister because she'll kill me because she turned me on to you guys.
What a good
And
sister.
and I that album is one of the best albums ever for me.
Thank
I
you.
love that record. It's an amazing debut album. It's just stellar. Um, can you go back to that time and writing that record and the maybe the excitement and what was going on around that?
Yeah, I mean, to be a young artist, my hope is every young artist gets to experience that rush at some point in their career. It's the debut, it's exciting, the stakes. You don't know what's out there. You're just trying to do your best creatively, and hopefully it leads to an opportunity. And that's, as we were making that record, everything just started falling into place for us. And it was just a really exciting time. We had beat the pavement and done a few tough tours leading up to that. But then in '06, I'll never forget, what we did was we launched something called an album release tour. And I don't know if you remember, but at the time we were like in a legal turmoil with Warner Brothers, because they technically had dropped us. We were signed to Warner Brothers in '04, and it was sort of this merging between Warner Brothers and Word Records, which was their Christian division. And Reset EP came out on that. And then we went through a 2-year period of just like, we got dropped from our label because they didn't feel like we had any hits coming down the pike. But Word Records wanted to keep us, uh, because they liked us and thought we could be a good Christian music band. But that's not what we had signed up for. And so it kind of got shifted. And so, anyway, what we decided, the only, I guess, step around that we had, our manager had suggested, was we just have to put the record out ourselves. We'll do it independently, and then we're going to sue them for being in breach of contract, which was a bold crazy idea that I would not wish upon anyone, because the stress it caused us was unbelievable. But within all of that, we were writing records like our life depended on it. We were making music because it did. It was like legal fees were piling up. We felt like we couldn't get people's attention, but like every tour we were doing, every show we were doing, we started posting it on MySpace and doing video logs from the show. And then we did something called an album release tour. It's a roundabout way for me to bring you back to that. And it started in the beginning of '06, where the only place you could get our debut album was to come to our show. And we were selling the CDs there. And we were able to just start selling out shows. And it was forcing the fan base that was kind of getting accumulated abroad through MySpace or whatever to funnel them to a place, a destination. Sure. And it was just the right move at the right time for us to connect with our audience, personally be able to give them and sell them this product that we had, which was, I agree, it was, as an artist, it was a once in a lifetime creative thing that I got to be a part of. And it was for that moment of time. And then we went and just toured it like crazy in '06 and started getting traction. And then in the middle of '06, Warner Brothers came back and was like, man, I don't know what's going on with all the legal things, but let's just solve this. You guys are doing great. Why would we have dropped you? And then
there you go.
I'll never forget it. We were at Bonnaroo that year. It was '06 Bonnaroo. Our agent had just sneaked us in to play in the coffee house tent at Bonnaroo. And we were just beating the pavement, just trying to do the best we could, stay afloat. And it was this crazy, great show that we got to do at Bonnaroo. It just was insane. The system blew, and we were overplaying the venue, which was, it just worked. And the A&R guy who dropped this just happened to be there at the show. God bless him. And he came up to us afterwards, and I'll never forget. He was like, what I just saw is awesome. And I just called and realized that there's legal turmoil going on. Like, you're kind of still on Warner, but you're not. And like, and then the next week they flew us out to Los Angeles. We sat down with the president, it was Tom Wally at the time. And he was like, let's solve this, guys. And they restructured our deal, gave us a great record deal. And then a month later, they re-released our album via Warner Brothers in September of 2006. And then from that point forward, we were firing on all cylinders. Then we did the typical music video right after that. And then '07 was just super exciting. It was one of the most exciting years of my life.
That's
good times.
An awesome story, man. Well, I think, were you guys doing the I mean, was the live show what it became when you were doing that album release tour? Because I tell everybody, to this day, one of the best live bands I've ever seen is Mutemath. The show you guys would put on was unreal, and you had to have been just dead every night from all the flipping and jumping and all the craziness that was going on stage. I mean, those shows were nuts. That had to have been helped sell it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just it. During that time too, every chance we got to get on stage, there was such an urgency because of sort of this weird legal and like, we're just fighting through what seemed to be the obstacle course that was in front of us. Every time we took the stage, we had such a like determination to just give it our all and just figure it out and just make an unforgettable experience. First for ourselves, because we loved what we do so much, but then in turn, obviously for the audience. Remember when we started doing those shows in '06, I'll never forget it. It was the first show in Oklahoma on that album release tour. That was the first time when we left the stage after our set and we hadn't played our instrumental song, which was a song called Reset. Yeah. And everyone started chanting, reset, reset. That was the first time that had happened. And little did we know that was going to become the tradition for a Mutemath show from that point forward, that we would close our show with the instrumental track, Reset, which became such an important song for us as a band and our fans. And I always loved that about our band. We were one of the few bands that our encore song was our instrumental. And it was super exciting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's nothing more prog than having your encore song be an instrumental. Let
Come
me
on,
tell you.
man. That checks some kind of box, doesn't it?
Well, listen, man, this was really fun. Thank you for indulging me in all these questions.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bands, Mutemath, and you're working with 21 Pilots, and you got a great solo record. You're just doing a lot of really awesome stuff. Are you planning to maybe do some shows ever anytime soon?
There's nothing slated right now. I'm not against it, and it's very possible that something could happen next year. So I'm not saying no, but there's nothing booked right now. But if anyone's interested in that, make some noise. Let me hear it. I think part of it is just, does anyone care? Is anyone going to show up if I do a show? So
Yeah.
I think as I figure that out in the next few months and just how people are liking the record, um, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind doing a couple shows, dust
Yeah.
off the old
Can't
whatever.
do those flips anymore, though,
Those
now, I think,
definitely
probably.
can't. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'd have to have the EMTs waiting outside with the
Yeah,
ambulance,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Oh, you know what? I have to give you a shout out to those reels that you're doing about how you're doing the studio stuff on
Yeah.
your songs and the 21 Pilots stuff. Really interesting, really cool stuff.
Thank you,
So
man.
hope to see more of those. It's really really cool. It's like
Yeah, I'll be rolling out more
9,000
of those.
tracks on a 21 Pilots song. It's ridiculous.
Thank you.
Um, Thank you, man. Pleasure, and
Yeah.
good luck with the record. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, man. Thank you. And y'all have a good time at the Twin Pilot Show.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
All right. Cheers, brother.
Bye. Hey, thanks for checking out the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on all our socials and progreport.com, and we'll see y'all again real soon. Thanks.